The Department of Defense announced Monday that it suspended deliveries of F-35 fighter jet parts and manuals to Turkey over the Middle Eastern country's decision to purchase a Russian air defense system over Washington's objection. The U.S. had agreed to sell 100 of its latest, fifth-generation F-35 fighters to Turkey, initially planning to deliver the first 2 aircraft to Turkey in June. However, top government officials repeatedly have threatened to stop the sale if Ankara did not abandon efforts to buy the Russian S-400 system. The United States has been clear that Turkey's acquisition of the S-400 is unacceptable, said acting Pentagon spokesman Charles Summers Jr., who added, until they forego delivery of the S-400, the United States has suspended deliveries and activities associated with the stand-up of Turkey's F-35 operational capability. Should Turkey procure the S-400, the continued participation in the F-35 program is at risk. The U.S. move came just 3 days after Turkey's foreign minister said his country, a NATO ally, was committed to the deal to buy the Russian system and was discussing delivery dates. As a principle, it is contrary to international laws for a third country to oppose an agreement between two countries, Mevlut Cavusoglu said at a joint news conference with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. We are committed to this agreement. There can be no such thing as selling to a third country. We are buying them for our own needs. Cavusoglu also insisted Turkey had met all of its obligations concerning the F-35 program. The U.S. and other NATO allies have complained repeatedly about the purchase, saying it was not compatible with other Allied systems and would represent a threat to the F-35. Last month, General Curtis M. Scaparrotti, the outgoing Supreme Allied Commander in Europe, told lawmakers on Capitol Hill that my best military advice would be that we don't then follow through with the F-35, flying it or working with an ally that is working with Russian systems, particularly air defense systems. Officials also have expressed concerns that Turkey's acquisition of both U.S. and Russian systems could give Moscow access to sophisticated American technology and allow it to find ways to counter the F-35. Pentagon leaders have warned that ending Turkey's participation in production likely would force other allies to take on that role and could delay aircraft delivery. Summers said Monday that the Pentagon has initiated steps necessary to ensure prudent program planning and resiliency of the F-35 supply chain. Secondary sources of supply for Turkish-produced parts are now in development. We very much regret the current situation facing our F-35 partnership with Turkey, and the DoD is taking prudent steps to protect the shared investments made in our critical technology, he said. U.S. leaders have pressed Turkey to buy an American-made air defense battery, and in December the State Department approved the sale of a $3.5 billion U.S. Patriot system to Ankara.
The Turkish National Defense Minister, Hulusi Akar, stands by Turkey's decision to purchase S-400 missile defense systems from Russia. Hulusi Akar said on Friday that S-400 systems will be installed in Turkey in October.
Our decision to take the S-400 is a necessity, not a choice. We have to protect our 82 million citizens against the threat of missiles.
The Turkish minister also criticized the United States for its threats over Turkey's S-400 purchase from Russia.
The statement that we won't give F-35s to you is not reasonable, because they are different subjects.
Akar added that Turkey will continue its fight against terrorism until the last terrorist is neutralized.
When the chips are down, the Turkish armed forces will do whatever is necessary for the security of its country and nation in accordance with the directives of our president.
Akar also emphasized the importance of close cooperation between Turkey and Russia in Syria's Idlib in terms of the regional security.
Today, Russia began patrols in the border area outside of Idlib where Turkish armed forces patrols started in the demilitarized zone.
Akar reiterated Turkey's call for a political solution for the ongoing Syrian civil war.
We have no intention of invading others' territories. We have said since the beginning that we respect political unity and territorial integrity of all our neighbors, particularly Syria and Iraq.
U.S. officials told their Turkish counterparts they will not receive further shipments of F-35-related equipment needed to prepare for the arrival of the stealthy jet, two sources familiar with the situation told Reuters on Monday. The Pentagon confirmed the equipment delivery had been stopped, raising the possibility of complete U-turn over the sale of the state-of-the-art military aircraft protest at Turkey's insistence on acquiring Russia's S-400 missile system, which the U.S. believes would compromise the security of the Lockheed Martin-built aircraft. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Mike Andrews, a Defense Department spokesman, said, pending an unequivocal Turkish decision to forego delivery of the S-400, deliveries and activities associated with the stand-up of Turkey's F-35 operational capability have been suspended. Turkish President Tayyip Recep Erdogan, currently reeling from Sunday's disappointing local election results, has refused to back down from Ankara's planned purchase of the S-400 missile system. The disagreement over the F-35 is the latest of a series of diplomatic disputes between the United States and Turkey, including Turkish demands that the United States extradite Islamic cleric Fethullah Gulen, differences over Middle East policy in the war in Syria, and sanctions imposed on Iran. The sources, who spoke to Reuters on condition of anonymity, said the next shipment of training equipment, and all subsequent shipments of F-35-related material, had been cancelled. A Pentagon official told Reuters in March that the United States had a number of items it could withhold in order to send Turkey a signal that the United States was serious about Ankara dropping its ambition to own the S-400. Turkish officials in Ankara were not immediately available for comment. Turkey has said it will take delivery of the S-400s in July. The U.S. decision on the F-35s was expected to complicate Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu's visit to Washington this week for a NATO summit. Andrew Hunter, a fellow at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, said, certain Russian weapon systems are seen as inherently threatening to the United States regardless of who is operating them and for what purpose. Because Turkey is not just an F-35 purchaser, but an industrial partner, blocking delivery of these systems represents a major escalation by the United States as it threatens to impose serious costs on both sides. Reuters reported last week that Washington was exploring whether it could remove Turkey from production of the F-35. Turkey makes parts of the fuselage, landing gear and cockpit displays. Sources familiar with the F-35's intricate worldwide production process and U.S. thinking on the issue last week said Turkey's role can be replaced. The United States and other NATO allies that own F-35s fear the radar on the Russian S-400 missile system will learn how to spot and track the jet, making it less able to evade Russian weapons. In an attempt to persuade Turkey to drop its plans to buy the S-400, the United States offered the pricier American-made Patriot anti-missile system in a discounted deal which expired at the end of March. Turkey has shown interest in the Patriot system, but not at the expense of abandoning the S-400. Turkish Defense Minister Hulusi Akar in March said despite some issues, Turkish pilots were continuing their training at an air base in Arizona on the F-35, each of which costs $90 million, and that Ankara was expecting the aircraft to arrive in Turkey in November. By halting jet deliveries, the Pentagon could subsequently delay training of Turkish pilots. 2 additional jets are scheduled to arrive in Arizona in April and a significant delay could impact Turkey's November target date for operations. U.S. politicians have also voiced alarm over Turkey's planned purchase of the Russian system. 4 U.S. senators last week introduced a bipartisan bill which would prohibit the transfer of F-35s to Turkey until the U.S. government certifies that Ankara will not take delivery of the S-400 system. Following news of the halt, U.S. Senator John Shaheen, one of the bill's sponsors, said she was glad to hear the administration was to delay the transfer of F-35 equipment to Turkey to help ensure U.S. military technology and capabilities cannot fall into the hands of the Kremlin.